Hi, it's Jessie. I'm back again for that part 2 of Jeremiah 12 and being responsible for your own judgment. Now, if you read my video, if you listened to my video, you might think that I'm mounting up on other people, trying to make a case for something. But I assure you that is not what I'm doing. Um, that's my first point that I want to make clear to people. I'm not. See, you have to make a case when you want to take someone's life. You know, you got to make a case. You got to justify it. You got to explain yourself. You got to get people on your side. You got to get people in motion. And that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to take anyone's life. I'm trying to take down a game. I'm trying to empower people with the knowledge that they need to not face condemnation in the end. You know, um, these people, they killed me. They took my life over and over and over again because they were able to prove cases, because they were able to utilize the people around me and the people around them to prove their cases. And when they weren't attacking me, they were whitewashing their crimes. And it's like an impossible thing, because it's like, if you killed me, I cannot cover you. And I'm not trying to kill you, because you are just a man. I'm just a girl. And I don't want your blood on my hands. However, I do not want you to continue on as you are. And given the magnitude of the scope of what was against me, the army that came at me, not just from within my city, within my state, within my nation, within other nations. I had people from Israel attacking me. It was ridiculous how much they controlled the narrative. And I'm not trying to cut them down, but I am saying that we, each and every one of us, need to be responsible for what we do and how we act. These people, when they were making their case against me, one of the stories that they were telling, one of the stories that killed me early on, about 8 years ago, was that I'm a mother, and they said that I was absent from my children's life, that I was a drunk, a drug addict, a prostitute, I was a gambling addict, you name it. They called me it, and they pretended like I was not present for the entirety of my children's lives. Okay, they tried to make it so that my children's father was responsible for their life, that he had been there the whole time. And they whitewashed him. They gave themselves plausible deniability, because when it came to my kids, they talked to him, not me. And when he came to the school, he didn't have to have his ID scanned, so they didn't know about his history, even though they knew about his history, which is why they didn't scan the ID in the first place, because they were whitewashing him. They were whitewashing their crime against me, but they were whitewashing it with my blood. And these people, like David said, I have many enemies without cause. They weren't supposed to be my enemy. They were supposed to be my help. But because they got in this little system where we do things for other people, even though we know it's wrong, because this is how we cover our friends, so that we can all maintain power, because one day they're going to cover us, and we're going to maintain our power. And these people that sit under our power, even though we tell them that they're important to us, we tell them that they're loved, we tell them that we respect them, we show them a smiling face, we act like we care, we act like we're on their side. These people down here, they really don't matter. And they prove themselves, because they tried to take me away from my children with a false narrative, with a whitewashed decoy? What would I call him? What they did to me. There is no justice in the world that can set right what they did to me. There is nothing anybody can do to set right what they did to me, what they took from me, what they took from my children, what they trapped me in. There is nothing anybody can do, because when it comes down to proving a case, they're already privileged. They're already sitting in positions of authority and power, trusted positions. They already are believed blindly. There is nothing anybody can do. And they don't just whitewash the details while they're writing the narrative. They whitewash the details afterward, and they pretend like they're your help. They pretend like they're your friend. They pretend like they're on your side. But it's just a whitewashing. And if you don't understand this, you might find forgiveness for them. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't forgive them, but I am saying that there must be some accountability. And I'm not trying to hurt the people. I'm trying to make the people understand that, hey, before you allow anyone to mount up on you, you might trust Dr. So-and-so over here, because they have no crimes. But if Dr. So-and-so is on a mission to kill somebody, and they've lifted up somebody who, like in my last video, confessed to committing the crime of aggravated sexual battery to a minor under the age of 13 years old, if they're not telling you what they're doing, how they're arming these people, how they're whitewashing their crimes over there and acting like I'm the horrible person that ruined their lives, right? If they're not telling you all the details of everything and you're just running on your favor for them, you're going to be in trouble. And that's why I want you to take a minute and think for yourself. Think for yourself. Am I doing the right thing? Can I stand if this person who's charging me to do something that is unethical, that is illegal, that is outright wrong? Can I stand on my own? Have I witnessed with my 2 eyes that this mother is a bad person? Have I witnessed with my own 2 eyes that this mother is absent? Have I witnessed with my own 2 eyes? If you're going to sit as a judge, then they say a witness can't be a judge. Then you have to be certain, because you are responsible for your judgment. Because if you judge wrong, it is murder. Plain and simple. And you need to understand that you can't wash that blood off your hands. You can't. You can't act like all that didn't happen. And the only way that you can set things right is to stand up and say, you know what? She's right. These ways are wrong. I hurt her in ways that cannot be repaired. I took things from these children. I hurt them in ways that they're going to be paying for the rest of their lives. If you can't stand up and say, I'm not going to live this way, and I'm not going to advocate for my comrades around me who unite against the common enemy, me, if you can't stand up and say that, then you don't deserve forgiveness. Because you can't make that right. You can't undo it. You can't uncover it. You can't cover it. But what you can do is admit that you are wrong and say, we're going to change. And that's how you earn forgiveness. Turn away from that evil stuff. Turn back to God. Learn to be good. Learn to do good. You can't mount up. It doesn't work like that. It all falls apart. It winds up with a lot of people being hurt. A lot of people who didn't need to be hurt. David had many enemies without cause. I know. He didn't want to condemn them. He took all the pain on himself. As did I, as you could tell by my appearance. But you know what? I'm not going to take this pain. I'm not going to take all this punishment upon myself so that you can continue on as you are. You know? And I'm not asking anybody to mount up in my fight against you, because it's not a fight against you. It is a fight for you, so that you don't suffer eternal damnation. You know? And I know that sounds really scrupulous, right? That sounds really religious. But we all eventually pay the cost. Maybe you lost your mother. Maybe you lost your spouse. Maybe you lost a child. You know, maybe you lost control of the things in your life. Maybe you had to turn to drugs to deal with your guilt. Nobody escapes paying the cost unless they give up those evil ways, they let them go, they admit they're wrong, and they learn to do good. Because it don't matter where you sit, if you're doing that nonsense, you're not good. And you might not like that, but that's the way it is, you know. And who am I? Who am I to say, you know? I'm already under your feet. And I might be under your feet, but I'm the one telling you I don't belong here. You know, I didn't deserve all that, you know. And I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, God, what can I do? Here's my hands, you know. Here's my hands. What can I do? Because he won't let me go over here where I confess, oh, Jesus saves the sinner. He won't let me make that declaration, you know, because that does nothing to set the world right. It doesn't. The world has been amplified in evil, you know, ever since Jesus saved the sinner. And I'm not launching a war against Christians or Jesus or anything like that. But I'm saying that there is a time in life where when you read these words that are written here, you have to understand that there is a bigger lesson to them. And God didn't just put one prophet in time to rebuke you, you know, where you didn't get the whole picture. You got a whole book of prophets in here telling you what they've rebuked, what they've encountered, what they've experienced, you know, back to back to back to back to back to back. They've spent enough time rebuking you and calling you evil and calling for your demise. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to let you know that my blood won't save you, because blood does not cover. Love does. It's love that covers a multitude of sins. You want me to pull out the stuff that matters? The stuff that matters within Christianity, it is love that covers. And you cannot save yourself. When you save yourself, you're going to shed a lot of innocent blood that should not be shed. Because all you really need to be covered is someone that loves you. Or someone that loves God enough to recognize that, hey, he didn't want you destroyed. He didn't want me to call for your end. He didn't want me to call for you to be butchered like sheep. He wanted me to tell you, turn away from that stuff. You're not clever when you're whitewashing stuff. You're not clever. You're not invisible. You know, all this stuff, it's all been done before. And they all tell you the same thing. Nobody will see. Nobody will know. Isn't that what Jesus told people? And don't say no one will know. Don't say no one will see. You know? Don't tell me Jesus covered, because you don't even listen to what he came to tell you. You know? Don't tell me that. Listen to this. It is love that covers you. And if you want to be covered by love, then you have to be a good person. You have to learn to do good. You have to not get involved in that nonsense. And I know it seems like a righteous cause. I know it seems like a righteous cause. I was brought up in iniquity. I know all about how they use you. I know all about their schemes. I know about how they survive by using your hands and then leave you hanging for their crimes. I know all about it. Ain't nobody gonna tell me nothing about that I don't know, okay? So I know about it. But I turned away from it. I was a child when they used me. They can't use me anymore. Because I'm going to look at that and I'm going to say, I don't know about that. That don't feel right to me. I can't do that, I'm an American citizen. There's a Constitution in the United States. Everyone who faces a charge that will deny them of their livelihood, of their rights, they deserve due process. Due process, which means if you think someone has done evil, then report them to the police and see if there's due process. Now, if it's the police soliciting you to make the crime case for them, then you have to understand that is working iniquity, and that is something that the prophets all came to condemn. This is something that God brings his wrath for, and you need to not be involved with it. And you need to recognize that if someone can't do it in their own power and authority, if someone can't do it with their own hands, it's because they don't want to be responsible and accountable for getting caught, getting their hands dirty, which is why they use your hands. Don't let them use your hands. It's that simple. Don't step out of your line, out of your purpose. Because whenever you step outside of your line, outside of your purpose, there is bound to be abuse. Understand that it's not your job to rule the world and make cases, It's not your job to be involved in this stuff. All these people came against me, all my neighbors, They were all fed lies and substantiated lies. For goodness sake, they said that we have coffee together. I don't drink coffee. I don't like coffee. I never like coffee. I find the smell of it revolting. I wouldn't touch the stuff, When you substantiate lies, you kind of wind up with egg on your face. Don't let evil use your hands. If it's someone else's responsibility to do the work, they have to do the work. If they don't know how to do the work on their own, they need to defer to a supervisor, somebody above them, If they don't know how to do that on their own, they need to study some more. And if the knowledge is just beyond their scope and they don't have the time for it, they need to leave stuff alone, because when you work iniquity, you commit murder. You steal life from somebody without cause. And it is wrong. And I don't need to mount up on anybody to stand up to your face, look you in the eyes, and tell you what you did was wrong. And it's not to condemn you. It's to tell you to stop doing it. Just stop. Is that so hard? Can you handle that? Stop doing it and learn to do good, Because if not, oh well, we all die, right? We all fall together. We all fall together because you're evil. Like Jeremiah said, just kill them all because they're evil. It didn't work for Jeremiah. I'm not trying to be like that. I'm trying to say you cannot overcome evil with evil means. doesn't work like that. Even Martin Luther King Jr. would tell you that. Hate cannot stop hate. Only love can stop hate, you know? So you have to learn which weapons are really effective. And yeah, it takes some character development to be able to use these weapons. But do me this favor, and before you kill somebody, develop your character and learn new skills for how to combat things that you don't understand. Things that you shouldn't be a part of. Because really, part of me wonders if you're sitting up there and saying, I need to kill somebody. I need to justify myself. Who can I go after? Rubbing your hands like you're evil. Oh yeah, we got one. We got one. Let's go get her. Let's go get her. Yeah, we're going to get her good. Is that how you were, all snidely like that, rubbing your hands together? Was this your evil you were plotting? You've been doing it so long, you know? Or was someone using you? It makes it, whatever evil uses someone else's hands, it makes it near impossible to tell who is the evil one. Which is another reason why I don't mount up on horses. I don't want to be accountable for someone else's judgment. I don't want them to put limits on my life for something that happened so long ago when I forgive someone and they tell me that he doesn't deserve forgiveness because we need to offer up something as a sacrifice, you know. It makes for this environment where everybody wants to cut each other to pieces and everyone wants to kill each other. And I'm still sitting here saying, what's done is done. It can't be undone. You cannot fix it. You cannot offer a sacrifice up for it. The best thing that you can do if you want to be saved is leave that nonsense alone. Admit that you were wrong. Promise not to do that stuff anymore. Work on your character. Learn new skills. Choose to do good, you know. Be someone's help. You know, when you're so broken and you don't know how to recover from somebody, God, here's my hands. How do you use them? How can I use them for you? You know, don't go around telling people some stories just because I'm quiet. Because I'm sitting here taking notes on what's going on and wagering, are you these people over here or are you the gullible ones who lent your hands to evil? And what would make you do that, you know? I'm putting it together because I don't know, maybe I write a new gospel for this Bible, right? Because maybe everything that's in there wasn't enough to set the world right, right? Maybe we are looking at it from the wrong angle, and maybe because God walked me through it, I got some things that I can share. And maybe instead of mounting up on people, maybe I just want to sit down in a chair in my kitchen at my desk, and maybe I just want to talk about, hey, what happened, and can we do better? Can we understand this within a biblical perspective without you calling me a scrupulous nutcase, right? Just kidding on that one. But can you understand that this is like the enemy that we've been fighting since biblical times? This is what we've been working against, and it's not any one person that we're working against. You know, Jesus would say that we war against, you know, the air, you know. But I'm not gonna go that way because I'd rather have you to understand that these are systems. These are systems that we build to acquire power, to put the world in order, to to be fruitful out in the world. See, everybody thinks that evil has to die, but what people really don't understand is that evil actually brings people together. It actually challenges us to become better than we are, because it's only that place of brokenness where we say, okay, how can I avoid the same mistakes? How can I learn to be better? How can I develop myself? How can I develop my character? And we would not have done that if we didn't have an adversary, if we didn't have someone to come and test us and to trip us up, That's why I said, I am not here to cut anyone down. I'm not here to slay evil even. I'm here to say, turn away from these ways. Recognize that evil has its role. It has its role and purpose in our world, but it's not to sit above us, under our feet sometimes, yeah. But its role is really to test us, to develop us, When we recognize things like this, then we can grow. We can grow and we can stop hurting so much, And not only can we grow, but we can grow future generations. And we can teach them in ways where they don't have to suffer what we've suffered. And I don't know, this is why I said we need a new gospel. Because we are suffering today the same thing they suffered in biblical times. At least I did. God walked me all through those pages, right? We're suffering the same thing as they did. And if we have this whole Word of God, then we're obviously not doing something right. We obviously got something wrong. We obviously need to fix our focus. We obviously need to think about things in other terms, and that's pretty much all I'm saying. So, yeah, I'm almost at that 30-minute mark, and y'all know I got a 30-minute time limit on my videos. So, I hope that I cleared up some things and that I didn't do too much damage, because I really am not trying to kill you. I'm really trying to grow you, and trying to grow you in a way where I confront you without exposing you. I have not named your names or your position, your location, right? I have not identified you. I am calling out your ways. I'm not killing you. I'm suggesting a better way. And this is the way that I war, and I don't need to ride a horse to do it. I can stand up and do it by myself. Can you accept correction from just me? And if you can't accept the correction, can other people accept the correction and make the change? Can we maybe not give them so much trust and authority? Because, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And sometimes our gates need gates, because if they won't listen to me, we don't war against them by cutting them down. We war against them by refusing to participate. Don't be their hands. If they couldn't resist being someone else's hands, don't be their hands. And I'm not saying don't help them with anything, but I am saying be mindful of what you're being used for, because you are responsible for your own actions and your own judgments. And I will leave it at that for today. Y'all have a good day, and God bless.